you're from a different philosophical part of the woods, if you like, to Michael Jacobs. Michael Jacobs is saying, let's cancel this price rise. For a free marketeer like you, that's pie in the sky. Having said that, in fairness to Michael, in fairness to the Labour Party, they have detailed, more than Rishi Sunak and Liz Truss have detailed, how they would pay for their proposals. There's quite a lot of detail in their explanations. Even the IFS said, we said in our headlines earlier, that the IFS, the Institute of Fiscal Studies, said that some of Labour's policies announced today are an illusion. That was a specific part, wasn't it? The interest payments on government debt that Labour wants to save from lower inflation from these policies. But Paul Johnson, head of the IFS, did say, to Labour's credit, that they had detailed how they would pay for these proposals.
Well, yes, but they're confusing several things. First, Keir Starmer said that this is an international price thing. Well, I hate to disillusion him, but the commodity price index is coming down. Almost all commodities are falling. Even oil is falling. And most people will have noticed that the price of petrol at the pump is about 10% lower than it was in its height at July.
Because oil prices have come off slightly,
Oil prices have come off. Now, why do they come off? Where the higher the price goes, more people want a supply and people stop using as much. This summer, a lot of people have been careful about where they drive, how much they drive, and also a lot of countries that can produce more oil have been producing more oil. Now, we want more gas. Now, this has been a history of really bad government starting a long time ago. Every party has been part of this. And so we don't have enough gas, even though we have physically enough gas, we're not getting it out.
So what of Labour's proposals? They want to cap the energy price and then they'll pay the difference. The government will pay the difference. They're admitting it will cost money, but isn't that the best way to tackle this directly?
No, because they want to pay for that cap by taxing the people who produce gas. Basically, if you want to increase supply, we should actually be giving them a tax break on any increased production. We should be saying to them, OK, your 5-year average was X. Every kilowatt hour you produce above X, we'll give you is tax-free. Get them to produce as much as possible will bring down demand. And also, if you are subsidising people's gas, which they are saying by limiting the amount people have to pay, there is no reason for people to use less. Because the
prices will still be high. I mean, prices will stay where they currently are.
No, the numbers that all of the press is pushing out there is for an average household, and that's assuming the average household uses the same amount of gas they used last year when it was half the price. Basically, the cap is on the kilowatt hour that you use of energy. So if you can't afford your energy bill, you start to use less. You start thinking about where can I use less energy? And there are a lot of ways that you can use less energy. Some of it might benefit other industries where people might, you know, we've gone back to 16th century power with windmills and other stuff. So maybe we have to go back to the 16th century idea of going down the pub at night and using the pub's heating rather than heating our own home.
Now, I'm still with my expert panel. Catherine McBride in the studio, fellow at the Centre for Brexit Policy. Before the break, Professor Michael Jacobs, who is a former advisor to Gordon Brown when he was Prime Minister, a noted authority on renewable energy and environmental policy more generally, he said that your concern about Labour using an extended windfall tax to fund their price freeze was wrong, because BP have told the Labour Party they wouldn't cancel any of their investment projects, so it wouldn't impact the supply of gas. And he's saying we should be focusing a lot more on renewables.
Well, I think first I wanted to say there is no such thing as a single price. US prices of gas have gone up about 120% in the last year. UK prices have gone up by 240%.
These are wholesale gas prices, yeah.
Gas, and EU gas is up 340%. Now, some of that is to do with US dollars and their currency rates, but basically, if we run out of gas, we're buying from the EU. We are not buying from the US.
And then if there's a crunch, they might not sell to us, right? It could get nasty.
If everyone is trying to get the same gas, the price is going to go up even more. So the idea, it's a great idea to move on to renewables, but we have found that renewables disappear when you need them. Right now, last Friday, when it was the sunniest, hottest day ever, only 17% of our electricity was coming from solar, virtually nothing coming from wind, because the wind drops when the sun comes out. Same today. Today, over 50% is coming from gas. On Friday, 55% was coming from gas. Today, we're making up the difference by importing electricity from the EU in the interconnectors. So this idea that there is one price and it's nothing to do with us is not true. One of the reasons we have 3 new gas fields that should be opened, and I'm sure BP was including that when they talked about how they would open these things, and they're being held up in the courts. Well, one's Shell, Jackdaw site by Shell. The Woolwich field is BP one. And the Cambo site, I think that is also BP. They're all being held up by Greenpeace. So I'm sure, this idea that they're going to continue to spend as much money as they plan to, well, did that include the fact that they're not actually spending any money because of our green agenda?